When I made Illmatic, I was trying to make the perfect album.
Around the 10-year anniversary, we started talking to Oludara, and we started talking to many people who were there for the making of. One Eye, me, and a few other friends got together, and we just started shooting people, just for fun.
Along came my son Nas, you know. I just felt like a king was born.
That Oludara interview really sparked like a new direction into what we felt like what the film should be. It wasn't just, you know, here's Nas's life, here's the books we read, here's the music he listened to, here's our cultural history, you know, from not just Queensbridge, but back to Natchez and the whole Jones family. It was an extremely like, rich, heavy, layered, dense interview.
We wanted to tell the story of Illmatic as it relates to our generation. So something bigger than just the music. So Nas actually spoke for many of us from that time period. And he did it in a way that no one else did. And we wanted to make sure that story connected outside of just the music.
Fuck that shit, word, word. Fuck that other shit, you know what I'm saying?
One way we break the film up also is looking at the song titles, but also relating it to an experience. For instance, there's a section we're calling it Memory Lane, actually going back to Queensbridge 20 years later. And I felt like he really had a strong connection to some of the people that were still there. I mean, these are his friends, this is his extended family. And that experience alone was just, it was fascinating to see him interact, but also see Jungle, his brother, go back and really have his point of view and just see how they're still so connected as a family to Queensbridge. Visually, we shot a lot of it with Super 8 to get that kind of home, natural feel, to really keep that authenticity.
Yeah, I come from Mississippi.
Let them know.
I was young and running wild.
Running wild.
Ended up in New York City, yeah.
We went back to Natchez, Mississippi as well, which is the home of Oludara. Oludara is a jazz musician. You hear him playing on Life's a Bitch at the end. And in the film, Nas tells us that, you know, he asked Olu to play something that reminded him of him and his brother when they were coming up, and Olu plays.
Life's a bitch, and then you die.
In that storytelling, you'll see that there's a lineage from jazz to blues to hip hop. There's a lineage from the southern experience to the northern experience. The generations are connected, so we wanted to build that bridge in that way.
We also spoke to everybody involved, from the producers, the Pete Rocks, the premiers, even the AZ and the Search. So they all add their stories on their processes of working with Nas. So from a musical standpoint, you're gonna love it. From a historical standpoint, you're gonna get it. And we just tie those bonds together and really bridge those gaps.
If you walk away from nothing else from Illmatic, from this film, it's really just to get an idea of that his music wasn't just in a vacuum. It was representative of a whole generation of young people who were trying to find their voice in America. And Illmatic did that. We've been in touch with Nas throughout the process. You know, he's been the greatest subject you can imagine. When we talk to Nas and we go and interview him, it felt like more of a therapy session for him. He's 20 years removed from that 19, 20-year-old kid who put out Illmatic, and he's looking back on his life. It's a therapy session. But I mean, in telling his story, it kind of echoes, you know, all of our stories in such a way. So I think when he sees it finally on the screen, it's going to be, you know, one of emotion, and it's hard to really see how far you've come until you get it put before you in that way, and how he's made it out, but others may not have.